Okay, so what I want to share now is what to do when you've completed some inner work with the different practices that I've shared, and have done. You come to a stage where you can sit with yourself for a while. Perhaps you've done the reflection practice where you're inquiring inside what is important to me today, and now we want to do some kind of integration process to work with what might have come up. So the whole point of these practices is not to avoid our pain, but to approach it in a safe way, and then to share it, to integrate it, to move on. And because many of the people that may be working with me will have extreme pain, trauma, difficulties inside, then we need to do that in a safe way, in little small doses as best we can. This video really is about the safe space. You'll have seen me talking about it in other videos. Hopefully where you are now is your safe space, that whatever you've been doing there has created a feeling, and it's coming inside where you feel secure, not threatened by things too much. It can be if you're with a group, then it can be useful to talk in a circle about some of the things that come up, the answers to questions, just to be listened to. So this is a really helpful practice when it's a well-held, warm, non-judgmental group. And I hope to create these kind of groups. So being heard is a really good practice when it's with the right person. Equally, it can be with just one friend or a therapist of the right kind who can listen to what's coming up, so that helps. But you can also do things by yourself, and I've done a lot of this. So one practice that's really good is a kind of painting practice. Although I wouldn't use the word painting, it creates the wrong image. So I always travel in my self-care kit. I always travel with some kind of children's art book and a watercolor set. So I've got pretty simple brushes, very crude watercolors, but it does its job. You just need a glass of water of some kind, and then you've got a whole creation kit. And this style of painting is not something that most people will recognize. So forget the idea, especially if you have any artist skill or training or background. Forget all this. And you'll see in my case, this is perhaps personal to me, but these are pretty just chaotic paintings. or creations is a better word. So I just start with a blank piece of paper. Let's find one. Put my colours out in front. And then the first thing will be just to, well, we've done our sitting, so I'll usually sit still beforehand, perhaps as a question or reflection. And then I'll just pick a brush, look at the colours, be empty inside, and just pick the colour that's calling me. And then on the page, it's not about, for me, creating something from my head to look beautiful. What I want is my emotion to come out onto the page. There's different ways of working. I went to a mental health charity years ago and watched the people doing beautiful paintings. This looked really impressive, but this was nothing that I could work with at that time. And so what I'm interested here is more like a emotional release practice using a white piece of paper, some colour, and a paintbrush that doesn't matter too much. If you see this one, it's been bent in multiple directions, so it would horrify any artist. But for me, it's been a good friend. So I pick up the brush, get some colour, and then just start. Some kind of line or curve, it really doesn't matter. And then that might move on to stomping, pressing, strokes, whatever's there. I can go into a kind of fast state with this at times. I may make noise like a child at times if I want to, as I'm feeling the actions that's there. It may go very, very fast. If some of the patterns that I create couldn't be done by a conscious mind. It might go on for 5 minutes, and there's layers and layers and shapes that come. Somehow my emotional state is coming into this page in a non-cognitive way. And so this is my way of processing emotion that's coming up. And I've done this live in what could have been called psychosis states if I was out of control, but in fact I was able to internalize and navigate through them. Rage states, I've had red pages, and sometimes there's bits of imagery. Sometimes there was an earth burning or trees. So it may be that you have little bits of imagery coming at times, if that's what you want, if that's more inside. So I can't say what each individual will do, but the main thing is it's a non-head practice, not a head creation. And then in my style, I've when I feel it's finished, I'll stop, sign it, date it. I even write the time to the minute. And sometimes these are in the middle of the night, all sorts of different times. So this kind of art practice is a really good way to process, integrate. Alongside that, journaling. So I've got my kind of notebook and pen, and I've written at times through all of the experiences that I've had. There may be tears pouring as I'm doing so. It may be difficult at times, it may bring tensions up, and so you just pace it. You keep working through practices. I'll say more on this later, but I also used massage from a friend to help me when too much came up. I've tried to bring this into this process. So in your case, that might be with the group, where we're guiding it as a heart touch group, or it might be with a therapist. So I found that I would do my practices, I would paint, I would do my journaling. There might be things that come up where I need support at times, and so this is a way of working with deep trauma. In my self-care kit, I've also always travelled with a few other friends to help me. So I've got some essential oils. In this case, my kit was spiked lavender, frankincense, grapefruit, and to a lesser extent, but I used it, spikenard. So these were oils which I found would help me to relax. I would just occasionally smell or put on a tissue some spiked lavender, and my anxiety would come down. I'd feel the lungs opening, clearing, and it would come down. So you have to respect any kind of things and not use them in a stupid way. But I found my own support. Also back flower remedies. I travelled and made my own kit, which in this case was rescue remedy, cherry plum, mimulus and clematis. So other things might be relevant to you. I'm not prescribing anything here. It's not. I just want to give an inspiration that I made my own kit. In my case, I decided I didn't want to rely on my psychiatrist and his medication, and so I took responsibility to make my own emotional balance kit, which is what this is. And in my case, mimulus was good because it helped with the fear and timidity inside. Cherry plum was with this rage. Rescue remedy was a general anxiety one, and clematis is more of a kind of grounding thing. So I don't know, this was just my personal kit. I also always had my music player with me, and I've got guided meditations from some teachers I found very relaxing. So I never really used it at other times. So I made a special collection which I just use when I'm in a crisis. So this kind of safe space self-care kit is something which you can use as an integration practice, a recovery practice after your meditations, but also you can use when you need as a crisis handling practice. So you retreat back to your safe space and then settle yourself to your practices, and then work with your creativity. And this might be in other forms. So this is meant to inspire you to create your own, not to be limited to mine. I didn't really play with plasticine or creating textile things or other stuff. This was my kit, but you can do whatever you find is helpful. Okay, thank you very much.